when I'm painting, I also feel a great deal of peace. I'm able to, in a way, meditate. I'm able to just be and allow peace in God to work on being still. Painting has allowed me to get out of the pain and be able to focus on something else. In 2001, I was going to go visit my family. When on the way to the airport, my luggage fell out of the back of the vehicle, and then I had to retrieve the clothes from off of the roadway. When I was doing that, there was a car that then struck me. The car was going between 60 to 70 miles per hour. Some of the injuries that it left me with was it shattered both bones in my right leg. I broke my left leg. My pelvis was broken in 3 pieces. Closed head injury, internal bleeding. I was placed in a wheelchair in a hospital bed for over a year in my home. I was told twice I would have to have my leg amputated, and I underwent 16 surgeries and 9 years of physical therapy. I developed a nerve disease that twisted my leg sideways. Horrible amounts of pain. God helped me through that time period. In the spring of 2021, I began having some pain once again and numbness in my left hand and in my brain. I had an MRI done. The MRI showed that I had a cyst that was going down from my brain all the way down my neck and into my shoulders. I then underwent emergency brain surgery. I was flown by the nation's specialist to the largest research hospital in the world to try and figure out if there was something more that could be done. There I was told by a neurosurgeon, as many had told me before, that there was really nothing more that could be done, that my life would be one that was filled with pain and there would not be happily ever after for me, that eventually I would end up in a wheelchair and lose control of my bladder and bowels, and that would be my life. In the middle of all of this came high school summer camp. I knew I needed to get out of my pain, and the best way to get out of that in my experience was to get into God. There at camp, I was in a lot of pain, horrible amounts of pain. And I walked into a meeting and there was Pastor Chad. There after a particularly difficult night, I approached him after a meeting when he had asked if there was anyone who needed prayer. I knew this was my opportunity. I went up and I asked him if he could pray over me, explaining that I had a cyst in my spine and that I was in continual pain, and it made serving very difficult, and I was tired. Chad then prayed over me. He commanded in the name of Jesus that the cyst was to dissipate and that I was to be healed. I knew there was a difference. Not only had the pain dissipated, but I had this heaviness lifted off of me, and I felt just amazing, like I was on top of the world. I told different various friends, some trusted people, that I had been healed. I knew it. I couldn't wait for 2 days after camp. I had an MRI that was scheduled. Now this MRI was going to precede the other spine surgery that I was due to have. The next week I walked into neurosurgery. Waiting for him was never so hard. I had to wait for my surgeon to get in there. He finally came in, and you could see he was distraught. There was a look of anxiousness about him. He was highly nervous. He said to me, you started out a conversation like this. He said, you are going to be so mad at me. Now, when a surgeon says that, you're like, oh no. I couldn't help it. I smiled. He said, I can't do surgery on you. I said, I know I promised you I would do surgery, but I can't do it. He said, because I've looked at your MRI. And that cyst that has not dissipated for 2 years, that has just continued to get worse, he says, it is dissipated by half. It has shrunk in size down by half, the width and the length. He said, I have absolutely no explanation. I don't understand why this has happened. But if I would be called a charlatan if I were to do surgery on you. He said, but we are just going to ride this wave of healing. There are lessons, valuable lessons that I am grateful for that he is teaching me and continues to teach me every day from this. God is the ultimate great healer. His love for us is infinite. And he extends that every day. By his grace, I am here and I continue to be.